Good morning, nation. Hello, hello, hello. How are you? See Marty Fit. How are you, Chris Keach, today, guys? What's going on today, gentlemen?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for asking. Keach, what's going on, brother?
Feeling good, alive, and very well.
Oh, we have Keach there somewhere. I can't hear you, Keach. You got yourself muted, buddy.
Well, that's a good way to start the show. What about now?
Nice. We have Mijo Pacheco joining us here today from... This is true. We have Mijo Pacheco joining us here today. I'm sure I'm not saying his name right, Marty, but I'm doing the best that I can here, and I'll get it better at some point during the show today. We are here to talk about accessibility in human interface design. Mijo is a programmer, works for Microsoft, and I found some stuff, Marty and Keach, on his blog that really inspired me to have this conversation today. So we're going to have that conversation with Mijo coming up today. Also, we're going to talk about nuance in a world of AI. You know, we are being inundated with AI everywhere, AI everywhere. And Mr. Pacheco suggests that we need to be more nuanced as human beings than ever before, because, you know, we're just going to live in this world of homogeneity where everything's the same. So he's suggesting that, hey, maybe it's time to even be more human than possible. So accountability check-in, see Marty Fit tip of the day, and if we have some time, Jimmy, we'll get to the creator spotlight, but admittedly, I don't know if we'll get there today. So, and of course, we have our good friend. Well, maybe Marty. I think he's kind of a good friend. We got Chris Keach joining us here from Los Angeles here this morning, and so forth. Marty, how's it going today, man? And Mijo, we're going to bring you in a couple minutes. Marty, what's going on today, bud?
Nothing much, man. Just another morning, fresh from the gym. How's your morning going, Keith?
Thank you for asking. My morning was good.
Man.
The morning was great until the coffee machine maker wasn't working like it should be working this morning. So, needless to say, I don't have a coffee here this morning. Are you boys still getting tons of feedback?
Yeah, yeah, it's bad.
Where are you getting the feedback on right now, guys?
I guess from the two streams from the vertical stream.
Okay, so I've changed nothing here this morning. Jimmy, I'll look for some feedback from you, Jimmy, along the way as a listener here. So we'll continue the chat here and try to sort it out along the way. I've done nothing different than every other show here this morning, Marty. So I'm not sure what's changed here today, actually, to be frank with you. So, but Jimmy, let me know how that's coming along here. But coming up in a few moments, we're going to introduce Mijo Pacheco, otherwise known as, dude. I met him on LinkedIn through some conversations, and the guy actually looks like Robert Trujillo. You know who that is from Metallica?
I'm unaware.
Yeah. I would expect you to be unaware. I'm going to show you some imagery a little bit later regarding Mijo Pacheco and his and the awesome lid man. The guy's got some great flow here a couple years back, so we're going to bring that up with Trujillo and have some fun with that in a few moments. But
looking forward to it.
Absolutely. We had a fun show yesterday, Marty. We had a great show yesterday. We had a lot of fun yesterday talking with of course, you, myself, Jonathan Whipple joining us from Los Angeles. Hey, we got all these West Coast guys coming in here from the West Coast.
Yeah, no, yesterday was a really good convo. Jonathan is a brilliant guy.
He is.
In my opinion.
Yeah. Well, just your opinion.
Just my opinion. Yeah. It might not be your opinion. Yeah.
No, I think he's a pretty cool dude too, actually. I think he's pretty good too, actually. So, Jimmy, thanks for the heads up. It sounds like our audio is coming good on the social media stream here. So we'll continue figuring out internally. So I appreciate your patience. Keach, how are you today, pal?
Feeling good. I appreciate you guys having me back on the show. I guess I'm doing something right.
No, we have you muted, Keach. I can't hear you, buddy.
I can hear Keach.
There we go. Cool. Thank you.
Okay, well, that's good. As long as I got one. So yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Right. I appreciate. How's
it going today, pal? You joining us from Los Angeles today?
Yep.
Yeah. Things are well.
Things are well. Things are very well. Having a hard time with the audio this morning, but show goes on, life goes on, It's been a few days.
I think
4th of
I think we're
July.
having some struggles with Chris's internet here. So, Chris, I'm going to put you. Chris, I'm going to move you out of the room here, pal. I think we're having some troubles with your internet. I think we're having some. Marty, you're having troubles with Chris there?
No, I hear Chris fine. I hear Keach fine.
I'm going to pull him back up here and see what the issue is, see if it's on my end here or not. But you guys are hearing him fine here. So let's do this too. I'm going to bring up Maho as well. Maho, how are you, pal? Good to see you, man. I'm going to bring you into the lab here. How are you, buddy?
Hi, I'm good. Morning. It's very early here in Seattle.
Oh, we got you muted, man. I can't. Can you hear him, Marty?
I can hear everybody. I can hear everybody. I think it's you, Keith.
So, Marty, you take over, Marty. Marty, you take over. I'm going to do a reset and I'll be back, okay?
Okay, cool.
Marty, it's all yours, man.
For sure. So,
No, you're the
Maho,
chief.
sorry about that. Yeah, how you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Yeah, this is very early in the morning in Seattle, but I feel good. Yeah.
Yeah, he said. You said Seattle.
Seattle, yeah. I
So
am
it's what,
living, it's the
5:07
suburbs of
over there?
Seattle.
West
5:07.
Coast. West Coast, Marty. West Coast,
appreciate-
West Coast. We wake up early, we get to work, right? Right, Maho?
That's right. Yeah.
The East Coast is the Beast Coast, so I don't know about that. But we appreciate you getting up early, Maho. So briefly, just tell us about yourself and what got you into human interface, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. I'm software engineer at Microsoft. I have been working in software engineering for many years. I am originally from Mexico. So I was from Mexico and then I moved to the United States 6-7 years ago. I am not an expert in human interface design. I am not a designer about human interface, but I am an advocate. And I think the title reflects that. I am always advocating for accessibility. And this is because since young age, I faced some barriers. And then I just got into that. And now I have some relatives that have some disabilities. So I am really advocating for everything. And my area of expertise is software, of course. So I am always advocating for accessibility in software.
Oh, definitely. And so did you get with Microsoft when you got here 6-7 years ago, or?
No, I worked for another company. It was a background check company. And then I moved to Microsoft about 6 years ago. I moved to the United States about 7 years ago. Yeah.
7 years ago. Okay, cool. So
Wow, so you're with Microsoft, huh?
Yeah. Where are you working, Chris?
Not with Microsoft. No, that's amazing, man. I don't hear that often, That's really cool. What's your favorite thing about Microsoft?
Oh, that's people. I think people is the favorite thing. There is super smart people, super cool people, and they made the difference. Sometimes the projects are, it's a big company, so projects can be very different, and there are some projects that are more boring for me, and others that are very cool. But people made the difference. There is really smart and amazing people there. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we talk about AI a lot on the show. So can you tell us how, one, you feel about AI, and two, how does that, how do you use that with Microsoft and,
Yeah,
Go for
I
it.
mean, Microsoft it is doing very well in AI, or what it called AI in these times, right? This is mostly generative AI. This is a big topic, and there are many things. And what we say right now about AI is generative AI. It's certain models that generate text, images, videos from different data sources. And I really, got excited since this started. I really was working with, I don't know, conversational bots and other kind of stuff, and it's amazing. But what I start seeing was these things that was removing the nuance of humans in when you go and then you see some topics on LinkedIn content and the titles are always the same. It's demystifying something, right? So all those words or all those things that make us human, I think are disappearing a little bit, and the content is starting to getting flat. So that's the part that I don't like people using it in a way that removes the things that makes us unique.
I couldn't
Yeah,
agree more.
Definitely, yeah. I feel like there's a need for AI, and but there's a need for human interaction too. So it's making our careers easier, but we can't just let it take over. Keach, do you use AI at all? I know you're
Yeah, every day. I mean,
yeah.
it definitely makes life easier. You can streamline your business and save a lot of time, and that's the point. As long as we're saving time to get onto the more important tasks that we actually do need to use the manual labor, that's the best thing. Whether you're just asking AI to look at local businesses near you, or local numbers or emails. I mean, it's amazing what it can do. But when we're using it too much as a crutch, what Maha was saying, and it takes away the human element out of it, and communication, I guess for communication, it goes back to the communication. If we're not able to communicate properly, then we're going to have a world of issues later on. And so we can't use it as a crutch. I mean, you don't go to the gym and ask AI to work out for you. You got to put in the hard work. And it's the same thing in business. But that's cool. Microsoft, incredible. I'm sure, you must be doing amazing things there. I'm sure there's some secrets you got for us on new products. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, for sure. There are some things that I cannot tell. I work in a part of the company that we work directly with customers, so we help them. And of course, right now, most of our customers want AI, and sometimes the customers doesn't know why they want AI. They just want AI. So we are trying to figure out a way that actually AI adds value to the whole process. But yeah, I know I don't work directly with creating these products. Those are super small people too. And yeah, I'm sure that there is something coming. Sometimes there are things that took us for surprise as well to the employees. So it's not that we
So what was your journey? What was your journey? You don't just wake up one day and you're working at Microsoft. What was the journey to get there?
Yeah, so I was not a fan of Microsoft. When I was young, I was more rebel, and I was like, Linux is the way, and I really didn't like Microsoft a lot. But what happened is that I really love computers, and I really love software engineering. I started doing that in Mexico for many, many years. And then one day I was working for IBM, and one day I decided that I needed a change. And there was a company that was willing to sponsor me for coming to United States for doing software engineering. So I just went there. But I made very good friends with a manager there, with my manager, and he left for Amazon. And then, like, after some conversations, I just decided to apply for Microsoft. I know that sounds weird, but it's a long story. Anyway, and then once that I interviewed in Microsoft, like, I really met like really cool people, like the five people that interviewed me the first day. Those people were like amazing. They were like ninjas, and it's like, I want to be here. Like, I really think the company is different. And this was a time that Satya was already there. So, and it really was like the first day that I entered, like, there was a lot of open source, there was a lot of collaboration, a lot of openness, and that made things very interesting. It was not the company that I imagined, like, I don't know, 10 years ago.
It sounds great. Definitely. Oh, looks like we got the Chief back.
Are you Chief Keith? Are you back, Chief?
What's
Keith?
up, boys? Thanks for taking over while I was away. I had to do a little reset on the computer.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you loud and clear. I can hear you loud. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Don't go kicking out Keach again, man. We can hear Keach.
It's only coincidental that we got a guy from Microsoft here today when my computer stops working. So I was about to actually pick up the phone and call Redmond and say, "Hey, Maho, can you help me with my computer?" But you were busy talking. You were busy talking to Keach and Marty.
Oh my God! Hey,
kick out Keach, man! Kick me out.
That was crazy, man.
I was kicking Keach. Marty, keep going, man. I interrupted you. Keep it going, pal. Keep it going.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, no, we're good.
You
Man,
guys,
I
you guys
forgot where I was.
You guys are getting Phil Pacheco. Hey, we got some. So let's bring this up on the board here. We got somebody who's been away for a while. So for Sarvina, good to see you here this morning. She's kicking in here with Good Morning Marty, of course. And where is Keith? Well, Keith is here. Keith is having technical difficulties, and we are back in the lab here, guys, rocking and rolling, and we are all good to go here at the 60-minute mark after the show here. Jimmy, thanks for the patience. Marty, thanks for taking over while we were gone. So I'm assuming you guys are getting in to know Mr. Pacheco here for the first few moments, eh?
Yeah, we got his background. He thought Lidos was the way. He
Okay.
didn't expect to be at Microsoft, but
The
changed his
Linux,
mind.
yeah.
Yeah.
And now look at him. He's running the show.
Now
That's
he's
all-
running the show.
He's
And
running-
his manager left for Amazon too. His manager
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know.
backdoored him.
How much now? My manager, that ex-manager, is in Google, so it's like he's a
Okay.
very good friend. Yeah, he's doing really great. Yeah.
No kidding. Okay, so we're going to come in a few moments, Jimmy. With we're going to get into our two main topics today with the team here this morning. We're going to talk about accessibility and design. Talk about Maho's blog I saw with some great content he's been writing up, and we're going to talk about nuance within humans and human design. So we're going to get into that in a few moments. But gents, before we do that, let's just jump into something that we like to do every single day, Jimmy, and we are going to do. Oh, yeah, I left for a little bit, but now I'm going to dance. I only got 2 coffees today, so I don't have as much energy this morning, Marty. Only
How many
the 2.
coffees? How many coffees you usually have?
I usually have 3. I usually do 2 before the show, and I usually do 1 during the show. But today's only 1. So I'm sorry, today's 2. So, anyways, let's get at it, Jimmy. Today's accountability check-in is about betting on people who don't fit the mold. Yeah, Jimmy, I'm pulling them off. There we go. Good. All right. So today's accountability check-in is about, I bet, and I've built a career on betting on people who don't fit the mold. It's true. And some might call them society's outcasts. I call them my friends. Yeah, it's true. Those that may have tattoos and piercings and unconventional looks, people who do and think differently. Why? Because brilliance always doesn't wear a suit. And I got a piece of content dropping today, coincidentally enough, that talks about this. The last sign you see when you walk out of my mudroom has a sea of silver fish with 1 blue fish in the middle of it. And it says to everybody walking out the house, it says, don't be like everybody else. Yesterday, Marty, little Brooks comes home with a piece of paper she drew at camp. It's a picture of 2 flowers. And one of the flowers looks nothing like anything else. And I said to her, so why? And she says, well, because I want to be different. I don't want to be like everybody else. And I was like, yes. So don't be like everybody else. Be yourself. Have that relentless drive that moves you forward. Don't worry about what others think of you. Be yourself, be human, be individual. Because in my experience, diverse teams, they are more creative, they're more adaptable, more successful, they're more fun to work with. So here's a suggestion for you this morning, Nation. Play an active role in breaking down barriers, leveraging unique strengths, creating spaces for everyone, regardless of gender, sexuality, tattoos, skin color, hair color, who cares? Create a safe space. And I'll tell you something that's going to happen. Success. Magic will happen. That's your accountability check-in this morning with myself, Keith Billis, Chris Keach, Maho Pacheco. Yeah, it was a proud moment, guys, yesterday when I saw Brookie come home, Marty, with that piece of paper, and she's like, no, I'm going to create something a little different. Like, yes, that is awesome, man. That is absolutely
creative. Brooke
She
a
is.
creative.
She is. It was what's this? I got a note from William Ray here coming up here. I was on Peeling Busy Way first. Okay, cool. So, Jimmy, can you check our LinkedIn page and make sure it's rocking and rolling for us? Apparently, it might not be rolling there for us, but that's okay. All right, let's get into a conversation with Maho, guys. Let's get into the main topic of the day. And the main topic is about accessibility. Maho, you wrote a piece as a designer. You wrote a piece on your blog, and it struck me that you were struck by the lack of accessibility in human interface design. And you went on and talked about it. And you went on and talked about how simple something could be that affects so many. So let's expound upon that. And when we talk about accessibility, accessibility is about ensuring everyone, including people with disabilities, can use software effectively. It's not just about disability. Think about a computer, using a computer with a broken mouse or bright sunlight on your screen. The glare, you're like, I can't see anything. So what's the key takeaway? Accessible design benefits everyone, not just those with disabilities. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about accessibility and design. Let's talk about what moves you every single day, Maha. And let's talk about that moment you had with the broken mouse and the light went on. You're like, hey, wait a minute. I don't have a disability. This normally doesn't bother me, but you took some time to write about it, Maho, and you took some time to talk about it. Let's talk about accessibility and user interface design and what you're doing to move the needle and how you think it affects the world around us. Maho.
Yeah, for sure. I think you aced it. Accessibility is not about disability. It's not only for people with disabilities. Accessibility is for removing barriers. You aced it there. And I think Broke posted a comment yesterday about a book, Invisible Woman. And I was like, what is this? What is this book? And it has some examples about how transportation, right? It is built or is designed in a very male-centric way. Or even I don't know, like the climate and everything, all the design, the furniture is designed for male size, right? And it really adds some barriers for in gender, right? For women, it's more difficult to take transportation because it is a straightforward design from one point to another, while woman is more like the role that society has for them sometimes makes them to take different routes to, I don't know, drop kids or buy groceries or stuff like that. And that is changing, but still there is a lot of that in all the designs and all the products that we have. And I encountered that since a young age. It was a mouse. It was a broken mouse, and I didn't have the means to buy another mouse. So that is a economical barrier, right? And there are many very barriers like social barriers, economical, mental disability. There are many barriers. Accessibility is about removing all those barriers for humans. So it's a very human-centric design. And again, what I said, well, you were not here, is I am not an accessibility expert in the sense that I don't do that as the only thing in my job. It's not like you design a product and at the end you just add something that makes accessible. What you really need to do is design from the beginning and each part of that to make it accessible. And I work in software engineering, so there are many of those pillars. And one is accessibility, other is, for example, security. And you don't create a whole product and at the end you add something, sprinkles of security to it. Really what you need to do is from the beginning, design it in a way that is secure. And accessibility, sometimes it is like a second-class citizen of those pillars. And I am advocating to change that. Every day with my friends, with my teammates, in each product that we made, we try to make it as accessible as possible. And the low-hanging fruit is the screen readers. How do you ensure that what you are doing is you can use it for people that is impaired visually, right? But there are other many things, for example, consistency, that you don't change things all over the place in the software and you know where all the things are, or the icons are the same, right? Or even, I don't know, your thumbnail kit, make sure that the colors are the adequate for people that cannot see different colors. So all those small things are human-centric design. And I am always advocating for that in I don't know, in my everyday job.
Yeah. Marty Keach.
That's amazing. So with someone who can't see certain shades or someone who has impairment visually, can you explain more about what they're doing in Microsoft or your ideas even?
Yeah, of course. There are guidance, right? There are institutions all over the world that provide guidance. So for that, usually the contrast, you need to have certain levels of contrast, and you have tools. You can can go to a website, just click some tools. Microsoft has an amazing tool in the browser, Microsoft Edge, where you just click there and it tells you, you know what, you need to add more contrast here. You need to add, or these colors may be a little bit difficult for certain people, or the font size is very small. And those small things really made an impact for those people. But the thing about accessibility also is about consistency. And I was watching the other day your like this talk, and I think Marty mentioned about how you need to have a plan, and that needs to be consistency. A consistency drives results, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
When you are doing exercise, and that is another barrier. Like for people like me that are lazy, having a plan that is consistent really remove that barrier to enter that. So accessibility is not about only software products. It's about really all the things that we can design as humans.
Yeah. Having a conversation this morning with Majo Pacheco, Marty Fitt, and Chris Keechmer on accessibility design. And guys, we got some great comments coming up on the feed here. We got Rob McCurdy joining us here today. Great topic. Thanks, Rob, for joining us. Of course, we got Brooke Sweetheart with Shake and Brooke. Good to see you here this morning. William, I see you here as well, and we got Brooke coming back with the comments in the feed as well. So if you guys got questions for Majo, please throw them on the table. This is absolutely a great discussion to have right now. Marty, question for Majo.
Definitely. So you mentioned the accessibility and having a plan, and I like how when I mentioned that on fitness, you can relate it to your field as well. So what in your field can relate to someone who doesn't understand accessibility or software engineering like that?
Sorry, can you elaborate a little bit more?
Yeah, so like you just mentioned, I mentioned something about fitness,
Mm-hmm.
and you were able to relate it to your field, and I was asking, like, in your profession, what is there like a certain process or a certain aspect that you can relate to someone else in a different field to better understand software engineering or anything like that?
Yeah,
Sorry for the confusion.
Yeah, no. Yesterday I was hearing this analogy, and I mean we do this all the time, right? Like we try to come with analogies that can explain what we are doing, because sometimes we just are there like in computers and nobody knows what we are doing. But this analogy was about like Mexican food. So it was Tex-Mex food, where you go to a menu and there are the same ingredients, but like the same core ingredients, but made it in different ways. So when someone doesn't know Spanish, but you go to the Mexican restaurant, you know what is a burrito, right? You know what is this. So that kind of consistency in the menus made it accessible and remove barriers for different people. For people that doesn't know Spanish, they go there and they can ask for a burrito of carne asada, or I don't know, a quesadilla, and they know what is that. So those are the kinds of things that are consistent in when you design things, remove barriers for people that cannot access those kind of things, like because different things. In this case, it's people that doesn't know Spanish, right? But so that happens all the way. And of course, the most common analogy of software engineering is like building houses. So we use it all the time. Like when we create a budget, when we plan how to build something, we always come like, oh, imagine that you are building a house, right? And that is like the most easy way to relate with accessibility. Like, how do you design a house that is accessible for someone that is in a wheelchair, right? Or has mobility issues. So all like you don't build a house, and at the end you try to make it accessible. You design from the beginning, you are doing the stairs, you are trying to make it accessible. It's the same when you are doing software. You don't build something and at the end you add accessible thing. What you really do is like in each icon that you made, or in each like a screen, or the messages that you made, you make sure that everything is accessible. And I mean, one example, you don't see it, but we can see, but when you go to a browser or a web page, you can just like, there are some hidden bits in each icon, like in the home button or in the link for Twitter, and all those like hidden bits tell a screen reader how to see or how to talk or how to describe that web page with words. So that's for people that is like impaired, like visually impaired, and those small bits are not like seen. And of course, for someone or for most of the people, they don't see that. But when you design and build the software, you need to make sure that those small things are there. It's the same in a house. There are many things that if we can walk and we can go, like we don't see it in a house that is accessible. But if you start putting attention, you can start seeing that the house is designed in a way that people doesn't need to, I don't know, go to a 10 flight of stairs.
This is fascinating to me because we're talking about things that I don't, and I'm sure Marty, you and you, Keach, don't actively think about.
Nope.
Yeah, not at all.
Right? Yet when I'm hearing Maho talk, I'm thinking, yeah, right. And you're right, Quinlan. It is a bit early for carne asada burritos this morning.
I'm hungry now. I'm hungry. Now I'm getting a burrito today.
That's it. Mike, I appreciate the Happy Canada Day comments yesterday you sent me. I really appreciate that, my friend. Maho, so me as somebody who's not aware of this, when I sit down with software today in 2024, is it for the most part designed right from the beginning for accessible folks? Or is that not always the case? Like, I'm going to make an assumption that Microsoft, every single time you guys sit down to make something, it's purposeful and meaningful and to be inclusive for everyone. Is that actually the case, or is that still working on improving along the way?
Yeah. So no, I mean, the short answer is no. This world is not designed in a way that is accessible, and this happens in Microsoft and other places. I'm super proud to work on Microsoft, and this is not a sponsor, but like the accessibility is a fierce place citizen in everything that we do. We have compliance and we have revision. So whenever I do something like I build a product and I want to release it, last year we built some AI product and we tried to release it, and there is an accessibility point that you need to pass, like a test, and you go there, and it takes days or weeks to fix your product to make it accessible. But the reality is that not everything that we do is accessible. And I have a video in my YouTube where the other day I tried to navigate Substack with the keyboard. Oh my gosh, it was awful. Like, really, you cannot really do it. Like, you cannot just use your keyboard to navigate that. And you need to use the mouse. Like, you really need to use the mouse. And for people that can use the mouse and don't have the meaning of mouse, I know that sounds silly in these times, but you cannot use it. But it is really important to make sure, and that is only one sign, right? Like tab navigation or keyboard navigation, but there are many things. And no, like the reality is that not everything is accessible. I have had some college that they are programmers, like coders, and they are like blind people, like people that cannot see. And I was really impressed how they use all the tools to actually do that. So the first time that they did a presentation, I was really excited about that. So no, the reality is not everything is built in that way, and it takes a lot of education. Myself, I don't feel that I am like truly an expert or educated on that, and so I try to be better every day. But that's where we start, trying to make things accessible.
Yeah.
And you know what? It is not only for like, oh, be good. It is because numbers, right? You have a market, a certain part of the market, a niche of people that really wants to use products. So when Microsoft released like the Xbox accessible controller for people with mobility issues, that is a market. That is numbers. So that people that got loyal to the Xbox brand because there was a controller that was meant to be used for them. It's the same in everything, like even in this talk show, right? If you make things more accessible in your thumbnails on YouTube, like people do have a niche or a market of people that will start like getting into your show instead of others. So it is a matter of business sometimes. So it's not because we are cool and nice people. Of course, we are cool and nice people, but it's a matter of sometimes money too.
Yeah. Gentlemen, some would argue that accessibility features are costly, time-consuming, market's too small. So it's a small user group. I'm not going to spend the time, Marty. I'm not going to spend the money, Keach, to go and address that 1% of the market. What's the comments on the size and the limitations, and say, now we're just not going to deal with it. We're going to go deal with the mass market. Comments, gentlemen.
That's a tough one. I think it depends, because I feel like sometimes in business you got to focus on your niche and cater to them at times. So if it's a situation where it's going to affect you positively and you can maybe make a profit from catering to this group and making this accessible, I think it makes sense. But in most cases, it might not even make sense a lot of times.
Marty, Keach, what do you think?
Yeah, for the small businesses, I mean, how can we all afford to cater to 1%? It makes it very difficult. But when you got big companies that are worth $1 trillion or hundreds of billions of dollars, then they are the ones who need to step up, take as much resources as they have, and cater to the people who really need it the most, especially those who have impairments or disabilities, which are probably more than 1%. I mean, I don't know statistically what it is, but I think there's a lot of people who have disabilities that maybe they're hiding it or they don't want to tell people, whether it's this, how many people that cannot see certain shades of color. Tons of them. I run into tons of people like that, or whatever else it is. So I think it's awesome. The bigger companies that are able to do something, they should, and it should help their brand as well. I mean, the small guys, the medium firms, or whatever, I mean, not everybody can get in on the action. So I think it just depends.
I will tell you, gentlemen, until this came on my radar this week, I don't know if I paid much attention to it, because I did. I was I'm a Peloton user, and I was proud when they added accessible courses and accessible classes, and they talk about it all the time. And that I felt the sense of, yeah, it's really cool. They're targeting that. But it wasn't until I read Maho's piece and I started thinking to myself, well, yeah, duh. Like, maybe we need to make everything accessible, because that would just seem like to be the right place to start. And I look at these comments coming up in the stream here, and I think there's some consensus around that. Rob McCready says, it's so easy for us to take the things we can do easily for granted and overlook design aspects that make the workloads more facilitating, possible for people that may not have all those abilities. And he continues and says, improving accessibility, and this is what got me when I started reading Maho's comments, just kind of going through my own head. And then when you make the comment with Substack, improving accessibility benefits all users. And it's true, right? Like, if you got a wider door for the wheelchair, well, I'm going to enjoy the wider door as well. Yes, I know it costs more money to make the wider door. But if we make the wider door for everyone right from the beginning, well, then full stop, as Rob says, we're benefiting everyone. There's something kind of intriguing and empowering about that. William Ray jumps in and says, I never thought about it until I started coding and took a course on accessibility. And it sounds like, Maho, it's the same thing that came to you, right? You're like, I wasn't really thinking about it until I had to use a broken mouse. And I'm like, oh, this is not the most fulfilling experience. We take it for granted, right? And then William pops in again, or then Brooks Swidera pops in and says, that's an area my own dev skills can definitely use some improvement. I think it's super important to be mindful of this no matter what you're building. And of course, we got Brooke jumping in with hi, Will, and we're going back and forth in the comments here. But I guess the point is that I think this is a conversation, Marty, we can have more often in our lab. And I think it's a conversation that we maybe want to take the mantle on to encourage people to keep considering, Keach, right? Because if we have the conversations from day one, as Maho said, if you're building a house on day one, well, think about building that house on day one accessible instead of thinking about it when it's done. But that's just an awareness thing for all of us, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. I was going to say, when are we going to get on track where everybody can think about, the underappreciated disabilities and stuff like that? How long is that going to take, Maho?
I don't know. I mean, this is a continuous journey, right? Like, this is a collective journey, and there is no end on site. I believe like barriers are gonna be always there, and we need to make sure that we remove them. But this is an education thing. Like, we can do things better with the small things, like every day. So it doesn't mean that we are gonna solve the whole problem. like from one day to another, but it means that we can do an impact for many people every day.
It's true. It's absolutely true. Marty, last question to you before we move to the next segment. Over to you, pal.
Oh, I was going to add that I definitely have to take accessibility into consideration, training different type of folks, injuries, certain conditions. So I agree with the whole thing. But I personally feel like a lot of people aren't going to be as open to it as we are. Maybe that's what I was just going to add that.
Yeah,
there's bottom lines,
which is unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate, but there's bottom lines, and a lot of companies they can't spend the extra revenue on building a wider door if they've already built the door. So I'm saying, how long does it take to integrate it? I mean, AI is I think amazing, but I've never seen something move that fast in business. I don't know how many other aspects we can, add like AI. It was like coronavirus. It went from east to west in like a few days. I mean, I don't know how fast we can integrate for, improving the human interface or designing all this. I think that's why I have no idea. So Maho, you can explain, how long does it actually take to implement, these little extra features?
I mean, each software is different. Like for the example that I did, it was 1 week that we worked. Like it was a hackathon of 1 week, and I think it took us 2 more days, like coding days, to actually fix the things. So you can think of that like 20% of the time. Like it's an increase on overhead of 20% to actually make things accessible. But if we have done this from the beginning, it was easier, right? Like it is easier to just create the wide door from the beginning than try to like smash the wall and try to make it wider after. So probably it's gonna be an overhead of, I don't know, 10% or something like that. And like developers really love accessible things, even if they don't know it. Like, going to a coding interface like Beam, most of people is faster just using the keyboard without actually getting into the mouse. So there are many things that are really useful for everyone. So that's the point where we need to think on accessibility as removing barriers for everyone and not for that 1% of people.
Well, and what's interesting, gentlemen, is that it's literally as easy. And Marty, you and I are here every single morning. It's literally, and perhaps we can get better at this. It's literally as easy as us describing what we're wearing to somebody who's visually impaired, for them to connect to you and I, Marty. So when we start the show, it's like, hey, Keith's sitting here. I got a brown shirt on. I got my camo hat on, says fit on it. I got a pair of green shorts on. So now somebody who's listening, Marty, Keith, who can't see, they're immediately feeling connected to me because they're going, okay, well, Keith's describing himself to me. Like that's taking that extra step, took 30 seconds out of my day, but that's an accessible moment right there that I know I can do a much better job as. And Marty, as you and I are broadcasting every single day, I'll challenge you and I, we can do a better job of this, frankly, right? Describing ourselves to somebody who's listening, because to what Maho said, that person that hears us describe ourselves, I think they're going to go, oh, they're talking to me. Oh, they understand that I can't see them. Oh, I'm now going to lean in to pay more attention to Keith and Marty and Billis, because they recognize that I'm unable to see them, and as a result, I'm going to pay more attention to them. There's something powerful in that, I believe.
Yeah, and it's something that even when you post an image in LinkedIn, right, or in any social network, there is one field there that is called alt text, that you describe what the image is for people that cannot see it. And AI made things a lot of easier. Like you can put AI right now in your show and it can say, oh, there is a guy with a camo hat or whatever.
Yes.
But it's still not like totally accurate, right? So when you post an image, just describing that in alt text, and I can be fair on that, I not always do it, that makes a difference for those people that navigate LinkedIn and are impaired visually.
Yeah, and Brooke drops a comment as well. And this will be the last comment before we move our conversation, gentlemen. Brooke says here, a good example for everyday people is the implementation of subtitles in online content creation. So true, right? Mm-hmm. I know that we're all focused on captions and subtitles, and I yes, exactly right, Marty.
That's what I do every day.
Yeah, and I agree with your comment, Maho, about alt text, and I'm not always the best at it. 'Cause I'm like, I got to get this posted. When in reality, if I can slow down 1%, Keach, it's going to make you, as a person who might read this more effectively, feel closer and more connected to me. So, I guess to me, the wrapping up statement in this is that we all have the ability to make this change for our fellow humans around us, with probably not much incremental changes to our life, but would have significantly incremental changes to somebody else's life. Right. So again, Marty, back to our example, every single morning when we start the show, maybe we start describing what we're wearing. As simple as that, right? It takes 20 seconds, 40 seconds. We've now made somebody listening feel much closer to us. I didn't, nothing changed for me, but something changed for them. Something powerful in that nation. So as you're going through your day today, folks, as you're going through your day, whether it's software design, whether it's building a house, whether it's just looking at your environment around you, I know I am. It's going to pay more attention to the accessible design and the limitations of accessible design. And one last comment, Rob jumps up here and says, yes, how about the sloped curbs at sidewalks? Designed for people with mobility trouble, but they sure do make pushing a stroller or cart easier too. Think about that. Right? So great chat, guys. It's clear that we have lots we can come back to on this one, and perhaps we will. And Marty, I know you and I talked yesterday offline. I had somebody on the show a number of weeks back, Keach, Rich Ingram, one-armed, lost his arm in combat in Iraq, and he's an accessibility athlete. And I'd love to bring him in the lab and talk about what that's like. So, but let's pivot our conversation, guys, to the last half of the show here. And Marty, we're gonna end the show with the See Marty Fit Tip, Jimmy. But what we're gonna do between now and then, for the next 5-6 minutes, I want to talk about something, Maho, you published. And we're gonna pivot our conversation now to why nuance. I'll call it why human nuance is important in the age of AI. And I think this is important because as we're all spending our time building our profiles across the social platforms and social networks, there's this push to be human. And Maho, you even said yourself on your blog post that you find yourself on LinkedIn acting more human than ever. Let's talk about why nuance is important in the age of AI. Starting with you, Mr. Pacheco.
Oh, wow. I mean, I love AI. I use it every day. I think it's great. It makes things faster. I code with AI. I fix a lot of things with AI. But also, I like to write, and I am not the best writer, and definitely my English is bad. But what I have seen is that when I am using AI to actually try to create a product, like to create an article, it really removes that uniqueness of humans, and that, like, the small things that made us human, like the uniqueness is what drive connections to ourselves. And like, I have seen a lot of articles and content in LinkedIn that it just is the same. It's the same thing. It's even the same, I don't know, joke. And it is always the same. And it is starting to remove that human aspect of content, of creating content, where you don't feel connected. I mean, and yesterday I published another thing, like, really what it makes great about the content is not the content itself, but it's the creator of the content. I feel connected with the people that is creating that stuff. So when you put AI just there trying to create articles by itself, and by the way, I created a tutorial how to create a bot that posts things to LinkedIn automatically with AI. It removes that uniqueness that drives connections. So, and I know that I have an accent, but I love my accent because that makes me unique. And those kind of things, I think we need to be very careful when we use AI to not remove those parts that are those small bits.
It's so true. I think that's and you can start to get a sense of what's AI generated content, what's human generated content. You look for certain words. I read a post this morning, actually on the Popular Science blog, and I wrote a long post, and then one word jumps out, and the one word that jumps out changes everything for me, because the moment I see the word, I know it's AI generated. Realm. Humans don't use the word realm for the most part, right? And I saw realm, I was like, oh yeah, there you go, AI generated content. Then I went over to her profile, LinkedIn. She got no posts. I'm wondering, is she real? right? But I'm appreciative of your comments because everything is starting to sound the same. Delve is another word. Delve and realm are two words that you see them anywhere. Oh yeah, I know it's AI generated.
Maybe they just don't use it in Canada.
Yeah, and Rob McCready jumps in and says, "Certainly, yes, exactly."
No, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you.
You can see it, Marty. You can see stuff that's you can see the structure. You can see the certain words. You can see the emojis put in spots. The moment I see it, I just move to the next article. I don't even pay attention to it.
Only time I hear realm is like in World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
That's the only time I hear that word.
It's true because of all the conversations that they got from Reddit over the years, right? All those World of Warcraft conversations, right. Millions of them. Realm was everywhere, so realm has become the word of 2024 and 2025 because we are all AI generated bots. And it's funny. Rob says, as a fantasy aficionado, I've been using the word realm and delve in conversation since I was a kid. Yes, Rob, but you're 1% of the pop now. The whole population's using realm and delve.
The anomaly.
Yes, exactly. And you're right, Brooke. The emojis, right? So, I'm loving the push to try to be more human, and I'm loving that LinkedIn's pushing more video because more video pushes us to be more human. Although I did see yesterday, Captions, an app coming out, gives you the ability, Keach, to create a digital twin of yourself. And have an AI digital twin of yourself very, very soon and very shortly. Like within a week, you'll be able to create a video with 1 minute and walk through a park, and it'll not even be you. Right? So again, I think it just pushes Maho's comments of that importance for nuance. And I love the word nuance, right? Because that's a human word. Because that's when you talk about Maho's accent. That's him, man. Like that's not me. That's not Marty. That's not Keach. Like that's nuance right there. We got to push more nuance than ever.
Yeah, I am not naive. I mean, I know that like in the future, and I hope that in the future you can create your avatar and then you can just create your show with just, today I want to talk about this, and it will talk with my style and my own nuance, right? The things that make us unique. Maybe there is going to be an AI avatar that it talks like me and it is like me. But the source of that, right? Like how, like the uniqueness of that, like when someone create the grunge music, right? Like, oh, what is this? This is just noise. So that creativity aspect, I'm sure that it's going to take many, many years to actually get to the point that something can create something really unique. Like that's the word, like something that nobody thinks that is going to work. Like, I don't know, like you create a new company, a new talk show, a new whatever, and it's like, oh man, that's not gonna work. Like everybody's, no, that's not gonna work. No, it's not a good business, right? And then wow, like it's just a smash because there are so many factors around that, right? There is so many people, there is so many things that make us unique that like every business is just, I don't know, like a chance. And that's the part that I think we need to be very careful to not remove.
Yes, and McCready, you're right, man. You made it into the 1%, pal. You have officially arrived. Keep using Delve and Realm, and you're gonna be awesome. Keach, you jumped in yesterday with a comment in my threads about in my feeds about joining the 365-day challenge. And if there's anything that I'm appreciative of that challenge, is if you think about a year from now, and as we keep getting pushed AI generated content, the earlier that we as humans embrace doing these uncut, these raw moments, these raw videos, I think it's going to make you rise to the top quicker than anything. Because 98% of humans are just going to roll down the path of the AI stuff. Right? So the moment Marty jumps out or Billis jumps out or Pacheco jumps out or Keach and says, no, I'm going to start creating some nuanced human content, it's really going to stand out. And I think we've only scratched the surface of it. Let's wait 3 months, 6 months. Let's wait when Sora comes out with an open AI and they're just generating just streams of AI generated content. The moment I see Keach fumbling with his camera, I'm like, yeah, I like that guy because he's real human. I think we're going to see that. I really do think. I know it sounds so simple and so goofy to talk about, but I think there's some value in that actually. It's going to be happening, coming up in front of us here.
Or Keith resetting the internet.
Or Keith resetting the internet. Speaking of, Jimmy, let's do this with Marty right now. Oh, that activates See Marty Fit.
Now
That activates Marty to go into full trainer mode. That activates Marty to get rocking and rolling here and get himself on the screen independently. I got him, Jimmy. Jimmy and I are battling for.
All right. We got the fitness tip for today. Giving up is easy, but easy gets you nowhere. Let's talk about it. It's easy to skip the gym, easier to give up. And right now, it might not seem like a big deal. You'll be just fine. But in the long run, those excuses are going to bite you in the ASS. I don't want to cuss this early in the morning. But let's think about it. Starting the gym is hard. And even when you start the process and you've been going for a while, you're going to have days where it's difficult. So if you give up, you're just going to get rid of all the progress that you made. So you got to keep pushing. Excuses rob you of your progress. They undermine your goals and they delay your success. I've seen numerous people, they've never reached their goal because they keep stopping. Instead of giving in, set clear, non-negotiable goals, prioritize your health, remember your why. The why is big. And the why can't be you trying to get right for a vacation. So you go to the gym for 2 weeks or you go to the gym for 30 days. The why has to be bigger than that. And if you prioritize your health, you're going to have a big why, especially if you have family, you have kids. The list goes on. Accountability is key. Show up for yourself every single day. Every day counts. That's the fitness tip for today.
Today with See Marty Fit, get you going. It's exactly it. Oh, Lauren jumps in here, Marty. Exactly what you needed to hear today. Almost quit my challenging tempo 4 times today. This will replay in my head next time I have this kind of training run. There you go, Marty.
Let's go, Lauren. Let's clip it up and send it to Lauren and tag Lauren on it.
Let's do that. We'll chop that up, get Lauren's feed this morning, get it rocking and rolling here. And of course, Rob McCready jumps in with a comment here. Back to our nuance conversation, but in a commodity-soaked market, it's true. People crave authenticity in handcrafted works. And Marty Keach, I'd like to think that's one of the reasons we're having some success with this show. Some humans on the show, we're having some human conversation, and people are enjoying it. And Marty, you got another fan here, man. You got Brooke Swittard jumping on your train and saying loving it. So great see Marty Fit tip today coming from the lab. And gents, we are working to the last couple minutes of our show here. Apologize, I missed the first few moments with knocking Keach out with my internet connections. Marty, I thank you for taking over. But how do we want to wrap it up, guys? I really enjoyed the conversation, Pacheco. I love that you brought my attention to accessibility. Like, honest to God, I would not have been thinking about this. Let's go back even. I would not have been thinking about this had I not mentioned LinkedIn feeds. I would not have been thinking about this had I not saw your blog post. I had not been thinking about this had I not said, hey, let's come on the show and talk about this. So that little, innocuous moment we had on a LinkedIn conversation one day literally brought us here. That creates more awareness for me. It creates more awareness for Marty. It creates more awareness from Keach. So, Mayho, I know when you sat down to write that blog post a few weeks back, I don't think you recognize the impact that post had and is going to continue having from that moment. So I thank you for that, my friend, because you've put something on the table for us all to talk about and consider. And as a matter of fact, we're also going to bring on another gentleman that we're going to continue this conversation around accessibility in the gym. So, Pacheco, thanks, man. I appreciate you bringing this up and drawing attention to a very, very important topic.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. It was fun.
It was absolutely fun. And then I also want to draw your attention to, the fact that you brought about nuance and AI conversation, right? We got AI everywhere. And, the fact that you're suggesting to us all continue being human. Again, I know it's a common cliche. It's something that we just all know. But sometimes you have to have somebody create awareness for you. And I thank you again for that encouragement to continue not being afraid to drop an F-bomb on LinkedIn, because that's human.
Yeah.
It is.
I do it
AI is not doing it. Right? So would I rather see an F-bomb from Maheo or from Marty or from Keach, or would I rather see an emoji generated with Realm and Delve?
Be different. Understand your why.
It's exactly it, Keach. It's exactly it. And Marty McCready comes in and says, I need that today too. So good job, Marty, with the fit tip of the day. Clearly it was the one that hit a lot of buttons today. And you guys, you all notice I'm a Canadian hockey guy. So I'm a last namer. I'm a Pacheco, I'm a Keach. You know, Marty's got a bunch of names in my book, but I'm just I'm just a last name hockey name kind of guy. So hey, let's wrap it up. We're going into overtime here, guys. Let's go around the table. Pacheco, what do you got going on today, pal? Your day's just starting. What's happening today for you?
I don't know. I want to go back to back, but no, probably I will do some exercise and walk the dogs and stuff. Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you, Marty. Yeah, you really inspire people to do less brunches and more crunches. Yes.
It's working.
Thank you. Yeah, I try my best.
Exceptional. Keach, what do you got going on today, pal?
I'm about to go get my my brunches. I'm gonna get my I'm gonna get my crunches in first, and then you know, a little work, and then family's coming in. It's 4th of July over here in the States tomorrow, so family's coming, friends are coming. They are descending upon us, so it's all good over here. It's gonna be a great week, and thanks for having me in.
Awesome. Keith, you're always welcome, my friend. Marty, what are going on today, pal? You got any clients left today, or you all done for the day?
I got some clients later.
Nice.
Got some calls to make and got my workout. Got my full body hit day.
Beautiful. Yep. And I have some topics coming on to you for next week. I'm pretty sure we got our shows lined up for next week. We got some great guests lined up for next week. I'll come talk to you about next week. And the nation, Marty's going to be sitting right over there in 2 weeks from now, like in the studio. Billis and Marty live in the lab together. We might even have some extra time behind the mics and the cameras for you guys. So get used to that. The week of the 14th. Billis.
Bringing the soundboard too.
Oh, he's bringing the soundboard too. So we might have some soundboard wars coming up here in a couple weeks. The week of July 14th, Keith and C. Marty fit in the lab, in the flesh together. All right, let's get out of here, guys. Go have a good day, nation. Everybody that joined in today, I really want to just pause and thank Sarvina. Thanks for jumping in. Will, Brooke, Rob, McQuinlan, thanks for jumping in. Everybody, we'll see you guys all tomorrow morning right here, LinkedIn, YouTube, and hey, Marty. Or a ring. LinkedIn. Y'all want to get behind the biggest only show on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram that jumps live every single morning? Come knock on our door. Come see Marty. Come see myself. Because I'm telling you guys, our rates are only going up. How do I know? Because more people are showing up every single day. So if you want to get into the partnership with Keith and Marty now, you know, we're only going to ask for a little bit now. But 2 weeks from now, and there's more people here, we're going to ask for more. So come join the program. Come join the program. And nation, you might just see me on LinkedIn here often asking for people to jump in because, hey, maybe, Marty, if we keep asking, sometimes somebody's going to show up.
I saw you pitch Ryan Reynolds yesterday too.
I did pitch Ryan Reynolds yesterday too, exactly. And one of these days I'm going to pitch Ryan, I'm going to pitch Snoop. One of these days they're going to put their arms up and say, and I'm going to say to you, hey, Marty, there's some guy named Reynolds in the green room. Should we bring him in?
Nope.
All right, that's how we're going to end the show today, guys. You never know what's going to happen here first things in the morning here. Oh, what do we got here? We got Keith Dobbs. You're already digital twins. Keith, I have that same hat too. There you go, Dobbs. Thanks for jumping in, pal. I appreciated that comment. Come back and see us tomorrow, July 4th, nation. If you're not doing nothing, bring your coffee. Come join myself and see Marty tomorrow. We're going to be here to have a conversation. And
I'll have my coffee tomorrow.
I'm going to have my coffee tomorrow as well. We'll see you guys. Have a good one. Ciao.